Hello, we are Geeks Assembled, and today, hold on, I think Beef Dad's got something stuck in his ear. We are discussing the 1989 movie Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. So while he's got it in his hand, we'll pop over and have a little word with Beef Dad. Over to you, Beef Dad.
It's a film I enjoy. Confess, I have enjoyed it. It's not wildly intelligent.
True.
It's a very sort of basic American humor for me. They've got to have Napoleon in it. I must confess, brilliantly played by Terry Camarelli. He was very good. Dan Shaw playing Billy the Kid. Well, yeah, I suppose they had to bring in one of their American legends, but the thing is, it would have been nice if they'd brought in one of the decent American legends, which of course they did later with Abraham Lincoln, but you didn't get very much on him, which was a shame. Socrates, or Socrates as they keep calling him, which I find very, very annoying. Typical American humor that, it's really funny if you pronounce it wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally agree.
And then you had Freud, and Genghis Khan. Joan of Arc, basically, she was momentary, which I found a bit of a shame, because she's such an interesting character, person in history.
Oh yeah.
But of course, she gets, well,
it was Sadland, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It annoyed me that they made so much about Billy the Kid and nowhere near enough about someone like
Sure.
Then you've got this in England, and none of that really worked for me, because it was not a thing that you would have got in England at the time. It was so inaccurate as far as.
Well, it's a Bill and Ted movie. I doubt its accuracy was on their man. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, yeah. But I think if you're going to do something and you're going to bring in historical figures, then at least you could try and be historically accurate with them. There's a lot of fun involved, and of course the whole thing, the basic idea of the whole thing has been stolen from Doctor Who.
I never noticed that.
Really?
No. A lot of American people never noticed that back in the day.
No, well, they wouldn't have done, because Doctor Who wasn't so big in the day at that time there. But they really nicked the idea so totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, any moments what you really did like in this?
I'm having to think about that.
For me personally, I can forget Bill and Ted straight away and just forget those. For me, it was the supporting cast of all the historical characters what made it for me.
Yeah. I always remember Napoleon Bonaparte playing what do you call it? Bowls.
Temping bowling.
Temping bowling. Yeah, I mean that was that had its funny moments.
Yeah.
And the bit at the end where they do their presentation.
Yeah, that was good.
Their
Yeah,
historical presentation. That was quite good. That was quite good and quite funny.
Yeah, I mean, it was a success because it created a sequel, and now they're doing a third one. 30 years. Oh yes, Bill and Ted 3 is going to come out next year.
There was one other moment.
Oh yeah, go on.
And all the historical figures all get arrested by the police. And the what's your name? Abraham Lincoln. That and the expression on the policeman's face and everything. It was just so. It was comical.
Also the same part with Freud with the policeman. You know, tell me about your father.
Yeah, is this something to do with your father? Yeah. But that's about it, really.
Yeah. So what would you give this one then? Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Oh, I'd give it an 8 because the supporting cast did some brilliant stuff.
Yeah, that made it for me. The supporting cast. Yeah. The two main. I mean, I'll say it again. I'm not a big fan of Keanu Reeves, to be honest. So, but you know, that's just me. So yeah, an 8's not bad. So, is that nothing else from you there?
Not that I can think of.
No. Okay. Well, thank you, Beef Dad, and we will move on to the next one. So, Beefhead, what do you think of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure?
Well, yeah, it's lovely to be back here and talking about one of these other sort of what now has been a cult movie, and it's a weird one for me because it is sort of take on the time traveling type aspect genre that we're all a fan of anyway. This came out when I was 12 years old, 1989. So it worked well for my age group. How I feel about it's very American, I think, is the best way I can describe it. It does fall into the sort of as we were talking before we came in and started recording tonight. Alex made a comparison to Pauly Shore at the time, and it was that very California dude type thing, era and everything like that. But it's harmless, to be honest with you. It's a fun movie. I think everyone relates to it. It's got George Carlin in it. George Carlin as Rufus is I've got a great love of George Carlin anyway, just for his comedy and his viewpoint and the stuff that he's done did over the years and everything like that, going beyond this to the Kevin Smith movies. And I like this. It's a relatable thing and it's harmless. It's fun. Could you say there's female empowerment to it? Yeah, I suppose it is, because you have Joan of Arc as a badass in it. The guy who plays Genghis Khan is one of those, bit part actors who would show up in like Big Trouble in Little China and everything like that. It's so from that point of view, it's hugely enjoyable. The one who plays the dad has showed up in loads of stuff over the years, and we have to put this in sort of context. Alex Winter at this time was the big star. He'd done, you had Lost Boys and everything like that. So he was the big money during this. Keanu Reeves was like, who? Some guy with a funny sounding name. So, and now look at him. Do you know what I mean? The guy's like Dorian Gray. He just doesn't age and he just decides to kill people as John Wick. But I do. I love this. There is a certain affection that I have for this inside. That is just like a no-brainer fun movie. If you like, Cannonball Run, if you like Airplane, if you are a fan of, I suppose, just like sit back, take your shoes off, enjoy it for what it is, because every kid, I think we can all relate to a certain degree. It's just like, yeah, there's a school project you've got to do. How are you going to do? You copy and paste it. Well, no, there's no better way to copy and paste it than if you've got a time machine, and it works. So yeah, how do you find how would these historical figures interpret San Dimas today? Well, yeah, Abe Lincoln says it best, party on, dudes. But to have these two guys who just don't have a clue, and then suddenly to unlock the keys to the universe, yeah, okay, I'll run with it. I will run with it. It is quintessentially very much late 80s. I enjoy it. It's not like up there on a classic status for me, but it's no doubt enjoyable. I like the sequel perhaps more because I love the introduction of the Grim Reaper as a character and everything like that. But it's fun. It's, yeah, like your titular characters. It's a no-brainer. It ain't Doctor Who, but yeah, I suppose if you Americans made it, this is what it would be.
Never going to happen. Over to Susan and Alex then.
All right. Well, first of all, it's cool. It's timey-wimey. It's got like the whole incident with the keys and Captain Logan and Ted Theodore Logan's dad, who was going to send him to like Alaska to military academy. That sucks. That would suck for a young Californian dude. That would totally suck. And so, here he's got this chance now to be, wild stallions and make something of himself by himself without going to,
I don't know about you, but I just like how Susan sounds like she actually went to school with Bill and Ted.
Well, I actually kind of did, and so like, yeah, I was from that era. I really liked Alex Winter, and I really thought that Keanu Reeves was cool because he'd been in like 20, 25, 30 things before that. I mean, he was in all these American Playhouse stuff and all this stuff. He was in a lot of stuff. He wasn't big money, like you said, but he was pretty well known. I mean, he was in a lot of cool things. And after that, he got a little more stoic in his acting. But in this one, he's still got that, light up the screen smile. And so that was pretty fun, far out and fun to see. And we watched it again in, on DVD. And it's pretty sweet, It's got a lot of good fun moments and really exquisite. It's got really exquisite visuals. The wormholes really look like worms. They're fun. That's fun, and yeah. And then there's the telephone box, which of course is ripping off Doctor Who, and unapologetically ripping off Doctor Who, because the top lights up and the bottom takes you through the space-time continuum. That's pretty much the same deal. Anyway, and then there's Rufus, who, is this iconic actor guy, but also, in this, he's enigmatic. He's like, what the heck, who is this Rufus guy? And so that's fun. And I love the fact that they had to do a final report to raise their grade. I mean, that's a hell of a lot of pressure. Anyway, I really like this movie, and I'm really glad we watched it, and I'm really glad it's on our channel, our channel, trailer. And so anyway, here, Alex, be excellent.
Okay. Well, I may not be from California, but I understand some of the groove. Of course, it is similar to Pauly Shore. Would you like your driver's test in Californian, Spanish, or dude? And then you have Wayne's World, which is, I don't know if it's a ripoff or not. Then you have the telephone booth,
a different thing,
which
it's like another garage band thing,
which is another ripoff of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And they have George Carlin and the Society with Bernie Casey, who's another famous character
yeah,
actor.
Bernie Casey.
And they're sort of ripping off Doctor Who with the Time Lords. So,
True. Yeah.
okay. So anyway,
Uh-huh.
as I'm not from California, but I understand the groove of it, and I like the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
But
And they're another group from.
There, so
yeah,
don't have
you
to
did.
worry about that.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, yes, way. The sequel with William Sandler is really great, and I saw both movies in the theater. I saw both Wayne World's movies in the theater. As I said, the second one with the Green Reaper is very cool, especially his performance. And George Carlin is cool. Ladies and gentlemen, we're history. So, yeah, it's great. I also love the Rampage in the Mall with them going crazy. Beethoven playing on 10 keyboards. Excellent, as Wayne's World would say.
And so he was played by Clifford David.
Yeah, so it's it's
And
very
Abraham
funny.
Lincoln was in there.
Yeah, I know Abraham Lincoln was in there. So yeah, there's parts of the movie that I don't like, especially Ted's dad, but you have to have a villain in there somewhere. And it is a cult classic, and I remember watching it in the theater, and people loved it, not as much as the second one. Of course, the second one also had a song by Kiss, so that's also pretty cool, even though I don't think they weren't the original writers of the God Gave Rock and Roll to You. But that's the thing about America. We sort of steal things from England, and we steal things from all over the place, dude. And then, unfortunately, Peter Capaldi had to do the dude as well. So he's kind of ripping off. He's kind of ripping off Bill and Ted in there too. And then they did the dude too much in there. So,
but
Dr. Disco.
Jane Wheatland was in it.
Yeah, I know. So
she was in the Go-Go's.
Yeah, I kind of figured she was familiar. So you have this whole late 80s, early 90s vibe, which was it. Now that you think about it, now that it's 2019 and not 1989, it sort of has a dumb, smart vibe to it. Whereas now it's really dumb, and it's really based on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. And this was just before all that became the method of it now.
Mm-hmm. Brilliant.
So yeah, it's a great movie. It's not intellectual, but the funny thing is, just like a lot of people from California, they're hiding some of their intelligence with that cool vibe, dude. And they're actually pretty smart in their own way, dude. So, and hey, you have to be smart to surfboard as well, if you think about it, because it's a very dangerous trick. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty smart, and I love the fact that when I was in the theater, a lot of people loved the jokes, just like with Star Trek 4. It's the same thing.
Oh yeah.
It's the same vibe. It's stupid smart. It's dumb but smart. It's very funny. Okay. It's so yeah, the second one was good too. I don't know what the third one's going to be, because technically they're both in their almost 60s now. And as a general rule, you have to be very careful, because Austin Powers didn't do that good by the third movie. And sometimes an aging hippie isn't that funny, but hopefully they'll have very good writing on this movie.
No, these guys aren't hippies. These guys are metalheads.
Okay, but you understand what I'm saying.
All right.
I don't mean that literally.
No arguments, please.
Yeah. Easy there, honey.
Can I just say something, Alex? The look Susan gave you then, when you said about an aging hippie's not funny, that she just looked at you as if, oh.
You'll be sleeping on the couch.
It's because I'm an aging hippie, yo.
You'll be sleeping on the couch tonight, son. Yeah.
I know. Well, she doesn't. She takes it a little too personally. I mean, I'm kind of ribbing you.
I
mean, it's just like, it's just like Gidget. Gidget movies are actually charming. You just don't like to admit it, because just like Bill and Ted, they have a groove to them. You know what I mean? That's the thing. California's always had kind of a groove to it.
That's right.
And you have to understand it. If you don't understand it, it seems very weird, strange, drug
Just
induced.
sleep with one eye open, Alex.
Yeah, I know. I know. I'm a Metallica fan as well. But anyway, yeah. I mean, I actually the hippies do actually have a lot of intelligence to them as well. So again, it's a groove. It's a vibe that I know the rest of the country kind of looks down on. But let's be honest, the country would be a lot sadder without a California.
That's right.
I mean, so it's making fun of it, but in a kind way. Don't take it too personally.
All right. I'm
Well,
stealing the mic back.
oh yeah. Well, what can I say about this movie? I don't get it. Sorry, it doesn't do it for me. I'm going to be the bad guy here. It's yeah. I get the time travel thing. How they will put the keys here. We'll record a message there, and yeah, okay, yeah, I get that. But for me, not funny. It's not. It wasn't funny at all. I just don't get this humour. And maybe I'm an old aging hippie. I don't know, but I just don't get it. Keanu Reeves is one of the worst actors I've ever seen. You muted me.
Can't hear you.
Did you watch it at the time, or was this your first time watching it? Because that's my interesting take. Is do you think has it aged well?
This will be my maybe the third time I've seen it.
So maybe it's just not aged well.
Well, I don't think it has, to be honest. But the humour's not there. I mean, the waste of talent there as well, as you said. What's his name? George Clooney.
Oh.
It just waste of time being there because he was hardly in the movie. Wasted opportunity there. They had an English actor playing Socrates. Is it Tony Steedman? He's well known. He was well known for being on British TV in comedies, and he was like a cool actor. The comedy just wasn't there for me. But I've always said this in the past. I just don't get American comedy. Never have done. Because the British do it better. Don't we, Alex?
Well, I mean, again,
Yeah.
I understand if it hasn't aged well. Like I said, I saw the sequel in the theaters as well, and it wasn't as much laughs as the first movie. But again, you also have to be in the joke, and the American comedy is different than British comedy. But I mean, again, it's caricatures in a way too.
Yeah, I mean, there was some enjoyable moments in the movie, but as I say, overall, it just doesn't grab me. But what made it interesting for me is the soundtrack. It's a brilliant soundtrack. You've got your 80s hair band rock, music.
Hair metal, man.
Yeah, I love all that. I do, so that it suited it. Maybe this is what has dated it because you can tell the movie by the music. It's dated it. I don't know. I mean, the support actors were, brilliant. Beethoven, Freud,
Billy the Kid.
Yeah, all that lot, and Napoleon. Napoleon was the way they portrayed Napoleon as a sort of
as a rude Frenchman,
a rude spoiled Frenchman come spoiled child sort of thing. Yeah, but the comedy for me just didn't do it for me. As I said, I'm just not a fan of Keanu Reeves. Never have been. Alex Winter, yeah, I knew him from from Lost Boys, and he was awesome in that. And as he's top billing, because he was bigger than Keanu at the time, but I don't know. Just not for me. Not my cup of tea.
Well, so, at least they're better than Nicolas Cage.
Hey, no one disses Cage the Rage on my watch. Them is fighting words.
Well, it's close.
He did slightly better because he was in movies with Cher and all that. But yeah, I mean, it's got an '80s vibe to it, and That's not necessarily
It's a film. It's one of these weird ones, to be honest with you, because you meet these two guys who you don't necessarily, who you look at them and just feel like, okay, yeah. It's like Dude, Where's My Car that they basically did years ago later. You've just got these two guys who are just like aimless and have, in essence, this greatness thrust upon them that in some way in the future you're going to be really, really important. And then you've got this idea, and then you're writing the story around it to make it fix. And there's no, they're the your main characters, and this is the one thing that I think that they got right in the second film that you didn't have right in the first film, is that there's no antagonist. Because in the second film you've got Joss Ackland playing the opposite number, so they're fighting against something. If you want to get timey-wimey, yeah, you got timey-wimey up the wazoo in the second film. But in the first film you don't get that, so it's a case of just getting it together to make them set pieces. The fish out of water stuff in the mall, yeah, that works, and that's it. There's set pieces, but when it all comes together, it's just sort of like, it's pretty disposable, to be honest with you. Like, and there are other films that you had at the time, and they're all sort of meshed together. This one, for some reason, I think has had a longevity to it. That has been, I like things like, I think it was in America called Encino Man, California Man, it was called in the UK, and everything like that. Those sort of movies, for me, like stick in the mind better, or were better done because the story just didn't seem to be like made to fit. This, I think, was a bit of a small budget thing that did a lot better than they expected to do, which is why you got a second bigger budget movie that was done a lot better.
Right.
But I don't think this has aged massively well. I think it is quite, the only thing that gets me on this is the nostalgia thing. Yeah. I don't think, do you know what? I must watch Bill and Ted this weekend. If I had the choice of would I watch one or would I watch two, if I had to watch it, I would watch the second one because it's a better, funnier story with more happening. The first one is a bit weak, but I suppose, everything's got to start somewhere.
Well, again, I mean, Pauly Shore is slightly different humor. I tried to watch Dude, Where's My Car, and that was even stupider. I mean, that is really, really stupid.
But it's not, and like there was.
I think it was, but the thing is, again, they're dumb idiots, but they're not mean. They're not nasty. They're not bad. They're not vicious, and they do actually have brains.
It was just a glut of that sort of movie at the time. There was
right. Yeah, they overdid it. Yeah. Well, they come up with a style and then they do 12 movies.
That's it. I think that's what it is. You find a formula that fits, and then you sort of okay, we've got this idea, but I tell you what we'll do is we'll secure the funding, we'll get the actors, and then what we'll do is then we'll write the story on the back of a napkin. Yeah,
but I mean, this one was creative because it had some time loops and cause and effects. It had some cool science fiction time travel stuff. I mean, it wasn't just like thrown together. I mean, there was Fast Times at Ridgemont High and all those other ones too.
I'm not saying it in an unpleasant way. I'm not saying that in a nasty way. I think there are other films that I can think of that. Yeah, you had. God, when did Quantum Leap start? When did that start?
That was what, 88?
88. So you had that. You had that sort of idea of, you had Doctor Who, you had Quantum Leap, you had time travel at that time became quite cool again.
Yeah.
I think, and we try and find something that works in that folder. But they're sort of like, there are a lot of films, the sort of college campus films, real genius and everything like that.
1989.
1989 is Quantum Leap. Okay, well, again, I mean,
it's don't get me wrong, it's harmless and everything like that. It's not. I think a classic unless you just apart from the nostalgia. I think that's what it is.
It was a classic.
Okay, I think we might be missing this again. Unfortunately, there's a California stereotype of the hippie, of the vibe, of the hey dudes and all that. And the thing is, in reality, that's not really dumb. It sounds dumb and it seems dumb, but it's not.
Oh, I'm not saying that. I'm just.
Right,
I think it's just it's. But by the it's by the numbers. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, well, I mean, again, it's not meant as a super intellectual movie. It's meant as two dudes, but they're actually pretty smart. And if you think about it, they do work well off of each other, actually, too.
The chemistry between Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves is palpable. I look forward to the third movie massively. I really do.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, remember that this is not, meant to overtax you. This is meant to be a fun movie.
Oh, yeah.
Work on some silliness, work on some vibe, work on,
I'm a big fan of silly.
just like there's silly songs. They're not everything is meant to be, a masterpiece, well written, worked for 100 years, and then you also had Clueless. So they had the female version, which was Clueless, even though that was 95.
Yeah, that's a different generation.
Okay, but it's the same idea, though. But the thing is,
Susan is unhappy.
changed.
Susan is
it changed. No, but again, let's not get caught up in the fact that it is a vibe. It is a little silly.
Yeah.
But there's lots of movies that have a certain vibe to them, and there's nothing wrong with that. And obviously, you have fans of Bill and Ted. You have fans of Wayne's World.
And I'm a fan of Bill and Ted's.
Yeah. And I mean, so, I think maybe we're getting a little too hung up on the woe and all that stuff. But I mean, hey, it works.
No, that's cool.
Yeah, it works.
Well, Susan's got the mic then. You want to go to favourite moments or things, what you didn't like about the movie, what you might have changed?
Okay. Well, I like it a lot. I guess my favorite moments are the moments in the police station when they're addressing all the causal loops. That was quite nice. And then there was the other part that I really like is when they go to pick up Joan of Arc. She's sitting there and they leave her boots and her helmet and her sword behind, which was really it was really interesting, because that's apparently how she left before she was burned at the stake. And so, I mean, like, they chose some interesting historical figures. It was cool that they were all up on the chalkboard ahead of time, and the fact that they had put forth no effort and were trying to do this thing was kind of there was a couple other like big stories at that time about high school students who just weren't pursuing their academics very much until all of a sudden it was like a really important deal. So anyway, that was fun too. And I love the uncomfortableness of Missy being a high school student. That was a little uncomfortable, because I mean she graduated and went right to bed with Bill's mom or with Bill's dad, and so she became Mrs. Preston, mom. It's hard for him to call her mom, and so like that. Those are my funny moments. Anyway, so here.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, again, you have to understand the joke. These are two guys, they're kind of alone, but they get just like Weird Science. It's almost the same idea, I think. Graduated a little bit. And that's part of American movies, too. You kind of get the dude or the fool or whatever, and by the end of it, just like The Big Lebowski as well, you get all these weird, quirky characters, and they really look stupid at first, and then the story or the movie changes them, and they, have greatness. And that's the thing. You don't have to be a super intellectual to get greatness. Some people it happens to. Some people you get a challenge and they beat it, and that's the same thing. Because as we know, in real life, one of them would have failed, one of them wouldn't have shown up, or something would have happened to them, and, but it's cool. Same thing with the Wayne's World. I don't like the Pauly Shore movies as much. And like I said, there was also Clueless and a couple of other movies. And you have Fast Times at Ridgemont, High. But that was that's a different movie. It's a little bit more serious. It does have more women in it than Bill and Ted, but that was a slightly different movie. But yeah, you know, you have the character.
Well, then Half Baked.
Yeah, well, Have Baked. That was more about marijuana. But yeah, you have similar characters, and they're trying to, they did change the character a little bit. As far as Dude, Where's My Car? Yeah, I tried watching that movie. I absolutely hated it. I did not like those jokes at all. So I'm not a fan of every single type of movie. But I mean, this was basically pretty smart when you think about how bad it could have been or how lazy it could have been.
Yeah.
And like I said, I already mentioned most of the other ones that I like. But I mean, yeah, it's American comedy. There's more stereotypes. There's more caricatures. There's more, and they don't want to sound intellectual in most cases. So it is kind of funny when Freud is examining Keanu Reeves' character, and then Alex Winter says, "Oh, I just have a minor Oedipal complex," So I mean, they are actually smart. It's just you don't think so by the way they act. But then again, don't judge the book by its cover, dude.
Yeah, true. Beef. Anything?
Look, don't get me wrong. Albeit my criticisms, I enjoy it. Has it aged well? Yeah, yeah. It's there, and it's a part of my nostalgia because I remember watching it around that sort of period and everything like that. Does it have a message? Yeah, be excellent to each other. How can you not take away from that you could, it has a great message that, you could just be nice and everything like that will work out. What things do I like about the movie? Yeah, I like the malapropisms. Do you know what I mean? I like the bit where they call Socrates. Beef Dad would have said, Socrates and everything like that instead of calling him Socrates. Never mind his unpleasant demise, as history will tell you. But
Oh yeah.
I like the idea of that. That there is a mending of bridges between the relationships between the parents and the kids. So there is that sort of aspect to it. It is a no, like your two main characters. It's no brainer, but it's fun. it's fun. So what would I change about it? Okay, I think the only thing that I would change about it is something trying to stop them getting there, because when you have the benefit of a time machine, then you can do whatever and everything like that. And they did that in the second film. So I can't be ragging on it that hard. So like I say, the taking the historical characters out where they are, putting them in the modern day and seeing how that would work gives them good comedy. So you've got, Genghis Khan on the skateboard with the American football stuff with the baseball bat. You've got Beethoven. I like this, like Alex and Susan were saying, the psychoanalysis on stage when they're giving the presentation is sort of like, whoa, that's it. The idea of the air guitars and the woe has sort of fallen into pop culture lexicon now. So to say this movie hasn't had an impact as time has gone on would be unfair to say that. But for me, I like it. It's just horses for courses. I like the second film more. Yeah, get me. But by no accounts is it a horrible, horrible film. But I would give it, like I said, I say about a 6.5 out of 10. I want to see what they do with the third one, because it's if you take those characters and then put them through the modern day type thing that we've all now grown up through this period, how these guys are in like a 2019 2020 time frame, I'm interested as damn to see what they do with the third one, because it's sort of like how you envisage your future to be, and these guys know what their future is supposed to be and they don't know how they're going to get there. And you've got, like, at this point, for want of a better description, 89 to 2019, 30 years later, and they've not got to that point. I'm damned how interested to see what that's going to be, because that will be a very interesting story to watch. But with regards to the first movie, everything's got to start somewhere. Everything's got to have a genesis. So it's by no means the great. It's never going to be Citizen Kane and everything like that, but it's some great thing. but it's fun. Take your shoes off, enjoy it. If you've not watched it, enjoy it. If you haven't watched, if you have watched it, yeah, watch the second film. It's much better.
Yeah, take your brain out and leave it at the door.
Yeah, 6.5 out of 10. Yo.
For me, I mean, I'm not knocking it. I mean, I am knocking it, but I'm not knocking it. You know what I mean? The support cast, the brilliant, the portrayals of all the historical characters are pretty good. I think it's just me and Keanu Reeves just don't get along. You know, we had this falling out years ago. And
he'll be tragically hurt to hear this.
Yeah, we've never seen eye to eye ever since. You know, since his awful British accent in Dracula, I just cannot take him seriously or anything. But yeah, I mean, there is some good scenes in it, as you say. When they do the essay and they put it live on stage, that is pretty good. I did laugh. I giggled to myself at one point with the mending of the telephone antenna using chewing gum from every historical figure. Not very. I won't try it at home, kids. But I mean, as I said, with George Carlin, wasted opportunity. He should have been in it more. Jane Weedlin, as Susan mentioned, was from the Go-Go's. And she was pretty big in 88, 89 because she had a few hits those years, solo hits. So I'd have thought they would have made Joan of Arc sing a song in the movie, if anything. You know what I mean? You got Jane Weedlin there, get her to sing a song. You know, it's one of those. As Beef said, you don't need a high IQ to sit down and watch this movie. You know, it's one of these ones. Sit down and let it just wash over you. And whatever you found funny, let it tickle your funny bone. But things like you don't find funny, hey ho. So Beef gave it a 6.5. So what's the love so far going to give it?
No,
What's your score?
Do you want my score first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
I think you see, I'm going to go with Beef. I'm going to say 6.5.
All right. Jeez.
Well, again, I was reading a little bit of it on Wikipedia. I knew before I saw the movie that, yeah, technically this was supposed to be like 13 or 14-year-old guys, which, of course, then that would have made it very weird with the princesses and other things. And then the little kid, you know, that's the other thing. It's an American creation. It's not a intellectual or British creation where it would have been more intellectual in a way. But again, you know, that's the other, you know, it's playing also on the stereotype. Just because you listen to heavy metal or you watch Ozzy Osbourne, that doesn't mean you actually bite the head off of bats. It doesn't mean that you're actually violent. And I think that's the other thing about America is it does judge the book by its cover, as opposed to reading the inside of the book and finding out what it really means.
Okay, so what's your score?
Like I said, I love the mall thing. I love the music in the mall thing. I'm going to give it a 7.5. I do like the second one better. I admit it is better written. I do like William Sandler. Always have liked him as a character actor. So hopefully the third movie is very smart, and hopefully it does criticize a lot of the stuff that's gone on in 30 years. All this techno, all this auto-tune, cell phone, social media.
The internet. You have to remember, this is a pre-internet movie.
Right, it is pre-internet, yeah. So.
And I love this. I love this from back in the day, and I love it now. I think it is really clever. I think that when they went to rip off things, they ripped off great things. They ripped off Doctor Who. They ripped off, you know, Time Tunnel. They ripped off some. In the second one, they ripped off Star Trek, and they just went for some of the great, you know, great science fiction, and it's cute. I mean, like, it's really cute. It's putting all the historical figures in the phone box together, like squished together with their faces up, and then they're finally out the side of the door, kind of like hanging out there, like just kind of packed in there. That was fun.
Mhm.
And I mean, it was killer fun movie, and so I'll give this a 9.5 out of 10. And to heck with all of you fellas who don't really get it, because you don't really get this.
Well, let me ask you a question. How many places in England can you really surf?
Well, it isn't about surfing, man. It's about
the vibe, dude.
It's about California lifestyle, but it's not about.
It's not a place. It's a state of mind, Alex.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but still, how many places in England can you surf?
Lots, actually, because it's a bloody island, mate.
Oh, really? Are they
anyway, so I'm all like, I just don't get it why your scores are so low, dudes. You guys could have gone way harder. Way higher in this.
Yeah, sorry
And
about
I'm like,
bad
I'm like
vibes. Bad
wondering why.
vibes.
And I also thought that it was cool that they didn't know how to play their instruments, and then eventually they're going to learn.
Well, hey,
so that's cool, because I couldn't even learn an instrument. I'm a lame-o. I'm like a non-talent dude. So anyway,
you have other talents.
So that's just the thing, okay? So okay, thanks for watching our video. I'll throw it back to Lee in a second, but I just want you guys to listen to me and
we are listening.
Hear what I'm saying and
but we can make fun of your style. That doesn't mean we're making fun of you.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, no. Again, this is like in the vein of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I mean, if you're really smart and you're quick, you get the joke. And it's 80s. It's making fun of California, but in a good way.
But it's not.
But in a good way. In a good way, dude. In a good way. Cowabunga, dude. It's all right.
No, that's
Hang. No, it's all right. It's all right. No, it's not New York. But again, it's cute. I mean, again, it's not supposed to be intellectual. It's fun. It's cute. They're slackers. They're a little bit of metalheads. But you know what? The funny thing is, it was a smart idea, just like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Okay.
And it is smart because it's been done and it's been imitated a lot of times if you think about it.
So that's what I'm saying.
Right. So
it's really good stuff. So,
right, it's a good idea.
Okay, so could you raise your score?
No, because I like the second one.
Okay, never mind.
I like the second
Never mind. Back over to you, Lee. Finish this out.
Come on.
6. You.
Well, we've had quite a bit of a debate on this, haven't we? Once we've scored, we can't really change our score soon.
Who'd have thunk it? Yeah.
Who would have thunk it? Yeah, well, that's our sort of hectic review of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Some people like it, as Susan does. Some people are okay with it, and some people think, yeah.
Nothing but love, though, yo.
Oh. So, please, you guys out there, leave a comment. Let us know what you think of this movie. And if you would like to get involved in our casts, we do movies, TV, we do audio dramas, and please
subscribe, click the little notification bell button in the corner.
And be excellent to each other and party on, dudes.
What was that, Susan?
Be excellent to each other and party on, dudes.
Yeah, party on, dudes, as Susan says. So we'll be seeing you next time, if Susan lets us on, because we've upset her with this cast. It's nothing against Susan and California, as we've tried, to make out, but she takes things to heart.
I love the state of California. It's great. Yeah.
So until next time, as Susan says, party on, dude.